Okay, so we're back to Redurgy, and while we're done with the core game, I did say something about playing Dot Eater, and that's what we're going to look at right now. In a bullet hell shooter, Dot Eater mode is when you simply avoid all of the enemy bullets until the enemy leaves. It's become an expected part of the genre, so although not every bullet hell shooter has bosses that simply leave, many people accept Dot Eater as an alternative playstyle or a way to challenge oneself beyond the core game's focus, which is to simply destroy all of the enemies with your shot, or sword, or whatever else you may have at your disposal. If you recall from the last video, if we stay still and don't fire, a shield appears in front of us, and this shield can deflect all enemy bullets. It cannot deflect lasers or fire, but all of the standard enemies simply fire bullets, which means playing Dot Eater for the stages leading up to boss battles is incredibly easy. This is not the case in many other bullet hell shooters, where playing Dot Eater can often be more difficult than simply shooting down the enemy. The idea being that if you shoot down the enemy, they can no longer shoot at you, thus making the game far easier. So in many cases, playing Dot Eater is a more difficult alternative to the normal game. But in Redurgy, the normal stages are far easier when using the Dot Eater strategy because of the shield mechanic. So you would think Redurgy is not a great example of how to play Dot Eater, and in many respects that is correct. But the bosses can still be reasonably difficult because many of them fire lasers or alternative weaponry that does break through your shield. It's not nearly as difficult as Dot Eater in other bullet hell shooters still, but it is a glimpse at that kind of difficulty. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and skip to the actual bosses so you can see what that looks like, and watch me failing in glorious fashion. So yes, as you saw, in spite of the shield, I couldn't even play Dot Eater against the first boss without getting hit twice. This is more a testament to my lack of skill than anything, but Dot Eater is generally more difficult in bullet hell shooters than simply playing the game normally. Now let's take a look at all the other bosses so we can get all of the pain out of the way at once. So what we learned today is that in spite of the fact that I quite enjoy bullet hell shooters as a genre, I am very bad at bullet hell shooters. That is the takeaway from this experience. In case you were wondering, there is no secret or alternate ending. No matter what you do in the game, you don't get a special ending for playing Dot Eater, and you don't get a special ending if you destroy every enemy. The ending is the same regardless. Anyway, that was Allergy, and stay tuned for an extra video about a related game